righty. So here we go. Alrighty, I like the I like the updated music there. Johnny and Jimmy special Saturday morning. We're gonna try this um, every now and again to see how earlier in the day streams go, and of course we got to get our play time up. We got to get those watch hours up for those super chats because one day we'll be as big as Tom Myers. What a douchebag.
Yeah, we,
We'll get to
we,
him
we,
in a minute.
we have.
Um,
I'm glad you mentioned that because this isn't really a show, guys. This is just
no, 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 not at all. We'll get to him. We'll get to Tesla and
yes.
Jimmy Kimmel, Jeremy Boring. We'll get to a bunch of stuff. But first and foremost, what I think coming out of this week, what we are seeing amongst a lot of these e-beggars, whether it be Aaron Emholt or Zumach or Myers, are these guys that are in their 40s and life has largely passed them by. So what they are now doing is they are resorting to, this sort of like egomaniacal type of streaming where someone will gift them $100 from like 3 months ago, and yet they keep it up on the screen routinely as if this person is constantly donating. Chad Zumach does this. He will have a ticker tape at the bottom of his stream of his top donators. These people haven't donated in months.
And sometimes there's a streamer or there's a content creator out there called DSP. What he'll do is he'll have a stock account and he'll donate to himself basically. But if you don't know that this is a stock account that he's made that donates to himself, you think that there are people who are actually interested in the stream, and then you'll think, "Oh shit, this guy just donated $100. If it's that interesting in the stream, I might do that too."
And yet nobody's in the show.
No,
Nobody's in the chat watching and doing anything.
no, and that makes you question. Okay, we've got 10 people here. Why is a rando here throwing that much money out there?
Well, I think Mint Diggity might actually be donating to Tom, and then Port Film Co-op. That's a little eatery and bar that
Yes.
Tom performs in over in Havre de Grace, and they threw him $50 one time, and I genuinely believe that he has accrued $150 from these live streams in total. Maybe he has more. I haven't watched every single day.
That's the other thing. I think, and I don't have any evidence to prove it, some of these streamers and guys have a lot more money than what they lead on, but they will do this. And I really hate when people do this. You've heard the pitch before. Hey guys, it's not really required, but if you donate some money, that'd be nice. That could help me pay my rent, pay my bills. Then they'll pull the it's not the then they'll pull it's not required, but you and I both know what that is. They're not saying it's a requirement, but they're putting it on you.
Fucking Tom Myers did that, a couple of weeks ago when he decided he was going to self-evacuate his house, or whatever living situation that he has, and he stayed at a hotel. It looked like a very nice hotel,
Yeah.
likely way out of his range. So he was looking for people to Venmo him a reimbursement on the hotel.
I have to
And he
point
was
this out.
starting this 5 minutes into his stream.
I have to point this out too before It's, the reason why these people will also push for the Venmo, the PayPal, the Cash App is when it comes to YouTube super chats, memberships, and stuff like that, they get the money at the end of the month, so they push for the immediate. Because if I give, for example, Johnny $100 in a super chat, he's not going to see that till the end of probably next month, unless they decide
Yeah.
this month. But whereas if he puts a Venmo up, he can just cash out it instantly if he
Yeah,
prefers.
I think like the 21st of the month is when the payouts come.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere around that. I
Yes.
wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. I don't like relying on
Maybe one of these
YouTube
days we'll
super
find
chats to
out.
get by.
Maybe one of these days, we'll be flying high like Tom Myers. But I just have to get to this fucking guy. I've made some overtures to him to come onto the show. I was trying to be nice. One time I even asked him for some advice for like open micers and what they should do, and he says to me, I've never shared this before, but I'll just go ahead and share it now. Okay.
Oh.
So he says this to me. I said, hello, Tom. I'm an aspiring comic in Maryland looking for open mics. Could you give me any recommendations? And this is what he said. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Write, and make sure you have punchlines. If you're funny, you will get booked. About 99% of comedy is luck. Have fun.
That is such. He's a hack outside of the stage too.
Write, and be sure to have punchlines. Well, I wasn't looking to write a fantasy novel. I would assume that writing jokes. So like it just like I can't tell if that's meant to like be pompous, if that's meant to be relatable and funny, or what that is.
I
And
think
Tom
he's
just
trying to
has
be.
this aura of weirdness around him. He has this aura of weirdness. I don't really know if Tom has many friends or how often he socializes with people or honestly what he does for a living. If you believe Nick Mullen, he's the manager of 7-Eleven. But the little bit I've interacted with Tom, and now that we're seeing him on these live streams every single day, Jimmy, I think I can say definitively that what makes Tom Myers such an awkward stand-up comic, look, sometimes he gets on stage and he kills. I'll admit, we have played footage on this show. We have looked at plenty of Tom footage at this fucking point, and
And
we
out
have
of all that
seen.
footage, he's told like 4 good jokes, which is not
But I'm
good.
saying, remember we watched that tape of him in Albuquerque, and he had a good set, and the tape in Philly, he had a good
The
set.
first
Well,
joke was rough.
hey, but you know what? The fans, I don't know where he was in New Mexico. I'm assuming it was Albuquerque. If you remember, people were laughing. We watched the video from that pizzeria in Philly, and people
Yeah,
were
that was the
laughing.
same. Yeah, that was the same place where he said that I have something with Jerry in common with Jerry Seinfeld, where I have a friend that yells the N word too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he.
Knee slapper. But people laughed. People thought it was funny when he said, people thought that was funny because I think in Philadelphia that's a relatable little tidbit to say. Oh yeah, I have a racist buddy.
I'm under the impression it's because people thought it's crazy that they let a heckler get up on stage and do comedy rather than the actual talent. He's been doing comedy for 20 years and no one's heard of him. And he's really going to tell you in that message that that was because he's unlucky? No, you're just an untalented
That's the
fuck.
craziest part is that yeah, we often joke that we do this show and we don't get a lot of watches. Tom Myers recently said that you need 3,000 watch hours to get monetization. On YouTube, Jimmy, we currently have 37 minutes.
Got a long
There's
way to
no
go.
there's nobody tuning in, but no one really knows who we are. We're just a couple of stew nods
Yeah.
who like talking to each other because we live across the country and it's fun. And Tom gets on the show, a guy who's been around for 20 years. You would think he would have fans. You would think he would have a sense of delivery. You would think he would have things on his mind that he would want to get on and kind of a jive about. This was a guy who used to be on the radio. And for whatever reason, he can't just sit in front of a microphone and start chatting. Maybe he needs a co host. Maybe he should find someone to do a show with him every morning and just do that. Because him saying, sorry, I'm being a little long winded, but my
Go ahead.
apologies. But
No
him
worries.
saying, oh, this isn't a show. I'm just getting up my watch hours and, talking about Venmo and all this kind of shit. Because he has nothing else to do, have you seen what Tom has recently taken up? Have you seen his recent escapade?
I have not. But before you get into that, I need to also add that, look, if you're going to admit that this isn't really a show and you're going to plug all of your your payment options and everything, you should in the very least have a structure. Because if I'm not going to act like this show is always structured, but we do put some effort into it. I would be damned if we actually got a viewer base and I eventually just told them, guys, this isn't really a show. I'm just going to talk about whatever the fuck I want, and that's the end of it. Like, I don't know, man. For a guy who's just, even when he was in his peak, he never really went anywhere. But now it's just like, when you first told me about this guy and you told me you'd done comedy for 20 years, it's like, there are people who've done comedy for a fraction of that time who have become
Shane
greater
Gillis
known
has
than
been around for about 10.
Shane Gillis has been around for shorter than a lot. I think it's been less than 20 years, or at least somewhere in that neighborhood.
It's been like 10 because if you remember, he told the story that he was 25, living on his
Yep.
ex-girlfriend's couch. He said, I'm going to do stand-up after he got fired from his job at like the Sheets or wherever.
Yeah.
And she kicked him out of the house. And he's like maybe 37 now. So
he's been doing it for like
12
years roughly.
Yeah. But the point is, though, is that Tom Myers says he has performed, and he said this on Twitter very pompously,
Yep.
I have performed in 37 states and 3 countries. Well, dude, that's really cool. That's really cool. That's a great accomplishment. But the fact that
it's done nothing for him. If he's begging for money, that's what he is. It's like Anthony says.
That's what I'm saying. Out of that sample size, he's got 89 viewers. But you would think that from all of that experience, Jimmy, because he does his Tom Myers versus the rest of the world show, and you know how he starts his show? He does this long-winded, unfunny, bizarre monologue. He has 4 people on the screen, and he says, okay, everyone, how are we feeling this week? Like, and everybody's response is, oh, it's just some ho-hum nothing burger, because that's not a way to open a show. It's just
look, I don't have an issue with doing a monologue, but maybe you don't do one every episode. Especially if you fucking suck at. I heard one of his monologues and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Well, if I came on here and I started monologuing away, and I spoke for like 3 minutes straight, and I said, "All right, Jimmy, go." Like, what the fuck is that? That's not a question.
I would say to you, cut the cornball act and just do you. What are you, Syndrome from The Incredibles?
Like, what kind of show is that? That's not anything.
No, it feels put on. It feels like a product more than just, look, I'm not going to act like, yet again, I'm not going to act like our viewership and our watcher time and all that's crazy high, but you compare our show to his, it's a lot more natural. It's not put on. This is just 2 guys talking about shit.
And I'll give Tom Myers some credit. I mean, although he's using the free version of StreamYard, so he can't
That's
have
me.
so his green screen is maladaptive, and he's got that goofy watermark of the duck in the corner. You would think it, and also too, he has limited time, so he can only go for like 45 minutes at a clip. He's got a
Ooh.
lot of limitations because he won't pay for it. I don't know, if Tom is gainfully employed these days. Because think about it. If he's at the 7-Eleven, unless if he's overnight, he's getting on at like, not like 6 in the morning before people go to work. He's on at like, I listen to him at work. I listen to him at work at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And he's just sitting at home in his fucking Orioles jersey. Actually, give me a second. I knew I was going to.
No, it's fine. Like I just. Oh,
So the
Christ.
point is that Tom now at least he has some sort of a go to, because that's what I was gonna say. He thinks his cash cow is starting a feud with Steel Toe.
Why?
Two nobodies.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna tell you, Jimmy. So all of this ho humming, all this not a show, blah blah blah. Well, I guess it is now a show, because the show now is I'm gonna get Steel Toe to talk about me. He thinks that's his ticket to fame. He thinks that maybe that's gonna. You know what I think? Tom Myers will sell tickets in Minneapolis. I think he should go box Aaron Emholt. Because Aaron Emholt's a boxer.
If the two of them boxed, I would pay for tickets for me and you, and if your wife wanted to come along, I'd pay for tickets to go see that.
Well, look, Minneapolis ain't that far. I mean, I
No,
guess you get down to Denver. Denver to Minneapolis wouldn't be that far for you. I'd make my way.
yeah, I think that would be great. I would make like a whole event of it.
In St. Cloud, Minnesota.
And I think we should. I also think we would be able to confront Tom Myers live and be like, "Here's the DMs, you cocksucker. Who the
Well, you know
fuck do
what?
you think you
Well, look, you know
are?"
what? If John ever ends up beating everybody's ass that he wants to, if he ends up fighting Shuley, maybe we can do it somewhere, and the undercard will be Tom Meyer. See, Tom will finally be on a big show with actual comics.
He'll actually
When
be
he
somebody.
fights when he fights Aaron Emholt in the undercard of the shitware versus stuttering John fight.
Okay, the stuttering John fight was surprisingly impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean back in the day. I'm saying now because he's
Oh
in the
God,
gym
no.
thinking about everybody he wants to beat up.
We'll go ahead and check it out.
So what's happening here is that I guess Tom keeps super chatting Aaron, so he's already operating at a loss as it is. He's not making any money off of this live stream, and he's spending money to annoy Aaron, a guy who, I mean, talk about okay, you have a wannabe grifter who is giving money to a professional grifter.
That's why I have a rule when it comes to troll super chats. I will do $1 at most, unless, or I will do the fourth of bare minimum. But if it's 5 or more, I'm not going to do it.
It just wild.
I can operate at $1 or $2 loss. That's nothing. But if it's 5 or more, I don't want to operate that kind of loss to troll.
But see, Aaron Emholt is the kind of guy, and I know that this has been covered on This Little Piggy. Which, by the way, if you're not watching This Little Piggy, I recommend Carl
It's
and
great.
Pat Melton. It's a great show.
It is.
Aaron will do a show morning, noon, and night. He does 3 shows these days, and he gets on and he just babbles. He just babbles because after the morning show, I can't imagine what the evening show is about. And in the morning, he'll have like 600 live viewers, right? Well,
Yeah.
by the evening, he'll have like 50. And he'll say, "Oh, well, Monday night, his audience is a lot of pro wrestling fans are in his audience, and Raw's on, so that's
Yeah.
an excuse." Or, "Oh, college basketball was on a Wednesday, and that's an excuse." He actually thinks that big programs are preempting his show, and that no one is just not watching on purpose.
Oh, what a delusional fuck.
It's that Tom Myers guy. Dude, he is so tragically bad. Oh no. Is this the guy who he was
Oh,
watching?
this is a gold mine. I didn't realize this was going to happen. Okay. So, I'm so excited. So, Tom Myers is going to watch Steel Toe review the bong hit transplant bit.
We reviewed this bit.
Oh, and it's tragic.
Oh, it's bad.
Oh, here we go. And what's so funny, by the way, is that Tom really thinks he's a living legend. So he's going to sit here. This is Tom's victory lap. In Tom's mind, this is where his watch hours are coming from. This is his virality. Okay? He thinks that he is the victor in this.
I also have to say this. Even if you are in the victor in this, you're in the victor against Steel Toe. How hard is that to achieve?
Well, Tom and several women in Minnesota have something in common. Ashley, April, and Tom Myers, all victors of Steel Toe. Holy shit. If only Aaron will treat Tom like he treated his ex-wives, maybe he wouldn't be so quick to make fun of him. But anyway, no, you're completely correct. You're completely correct. It's low-hanging fruit going after Aaron anyway, but I'll admit, okay, it's low-hanging fruit going after Tom Myers. So what I think we're going to have to do, I know that we said we were going to give him $100 and an Applebee's gift card. Look, you said $100 on an Applebee's gift card and $100 cash. I will be willing to throw $100 in the pot too.
Ooh.
So we'll have $200 and an Applebee's gift card. However, I might reduce it to $50 and use another $50 to bait him, because if he's giving Steel Toe $5 at a time to bug him, I've bugged him before. I've said hi. He says, "I don't know who you are." So I don't know if you want to hop in these live streams and just try to wave hello, because he will take any bait. If you give him it's like if you give a pig a pancake, okay? If we give Tom Myers $5 here, $5 there, he will run right to the fence like the lost puppy dog that he is.
If he keeps streaming at 6 or whatever on the weekdays, I can try and catch a stream, because at work, I'd rather listen to other things to get me through the workday.
Because I feel like, Tom, you'd fall asleep in the back of somebody else's car listening to Tom.
My boss would be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "I was working, but I was listening to this quote unquote podcast, and it had the smoke on the honeybees effect for me."
You're listening to a comedic amnesia. Anyway, so we will get into this, okay?
Yes.
We're going to watch this. But it's true, though. Tom does think he's a living legend. Okay? He thinks he's the victor in this. And this bit is terrible. But we'll go ahead and give this a whirl.
Me one day, and then the audience said something. I'm like, I don't know who it is.
But yeah, if Tom, I think I'll throw $2 to Tom. And I'm not going to be a dick. I'm just going to say, hey, look, we have a lot to say. Come on. As a matter of fact, please come on. Come on and roast us, Tom. Roast us.
I'll put it like this for the people watching. Johnny's probably going to be a lot more charitable to him. I'm not. I'm going to rip into him. And if he runs away, I'd be like, living legend of 20 years comic Tom Myers run away from unknown Yahoo in Nebraska.
But as a matter of fact, look, you can give us a rub, Tom. You know, maybe we're just talking all this shit because we're jealous, Tom. Maybe we want your star power. I want to say that I have, performed in 30 states. I haven't been on stage in a long time. I would like to maybe, open mic eventually here. I'm sure Jimbo would love to have the road life that you've had, Tom. Can you imagine the horse that Tom
but
Myers
seeing where
has
that
got?
road leads, I don't know. I kind of like knowing that I live in my own place that I own and not some rundown basement.
You mean look, dude? He lives in his parents' house. Come on.
Yeah, and I live in a house that I own. How the fuck could I be jealous of that?
But you think it'd be but he's performed in Canada, Jimmy. Big shot here. He's performed in England or wherever.
Oh, great! So he's as stellar as Ian Halperin. Lovely.
But can you imagine the horrors that Tom Myers must have had in this rock star career of his?
That ended with him living in his parents' basement, begging for money on a show that isn't really a show, that has no structure. Fuck me.
Come on, Tom. Have a sense of humor. Come on. Debate us. Tell us that Trump is all. Tell us that we're Nazis. Come on.
Wouldn't be the first time to be called a Nazi. I have a Decepticon Enigma as a tattoo. Please make my day.
Come on and tell us. I campaign for Pete Buttigieg on our show. Anything you want to do. Just come on the show.
That would be a great monologue.
Yep.
And then MG,
I was.
You have to see this YouTube channel of his comedy clips.
Oh, he says he was.
And of course,
so he admits that older material is bad, but he thinks now he's top notch.
If I'm to defend him a little bit, I'm not going to act like every joke I told, especially my older sets, were great. Like, there's this joke that I told when we did that gig at the Bean Broker. And it was a stupid Legend of Zelda joke, but the way it went was the first time I fucked a girl and she spread her legs, it made the tune of the chest, like the chest theme of like the chest slowly opening. So I get it, but I'm not running around screaming that I'm a comic legend like a shithead.
Well, and I will say again, okay, I have been nice to Tom. I have said he has had good sets. But again, let's just watch this, and I want to hear the comedic styling of Aaron Imholt now.
MGD sends it to him. Of course, MGD does. Like, MGD, I think, is the reason why this is called the Tattleverse, because she'll go ahead and just, she just reports and all that stuff. And I'll admit it. Like, if she comes into my chat, like, she's done. She's
Okay, I don't give a shit what Tom's saying right now. Can we just take a look at what this word? Tom was lean and mean. Look at that. Look at that tiny little girly waist.
It's like he's trying to do an Andy Dick cosplay minus the glasses.
He's dressed like Bill Hicks, I think is what it is. But yeah, he looks
well,
like Andy Dick.
He kind of missed the mark on that.
He's got the Andy Dick hair, the Andy Dick jacket. Yeah, you're right.
He's the Andy Dick without the glasses. And less of a sexual predator.
And without the talent, because Andy Dick is very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like a steel toe fan now. She can go ahead and watch that shit.
I almost fall out of my fucking chair on
then
stream.
He started deleting his clips. Oh, this guy's a chick.
I mean, I haven't been deleting my clips. Like, if you go to this very page right now, hang on a moment. Right, my stand-up clips are still, they are still online.
Tom, please pay for StreamYard.
I mean, you have to really go through to look them up, but But yeah, they're still online. Let me kill that a moment.
No prep on the show at all. No
Well, he's admitted to
preparation.
his
But yeah,
show
you see,
having no
there's a set I
structure.
did in Philadelphia. That's what I use for my promo. Look,
Holy
from
shit!
Hanover,
Wait,
Pennsylvania.
okay, I have to pause. He has to search it in the fucking. He has to look himself up in the search bar. He can't just click onto his channel and look at his own catalog.
That tells me one of two things. Either you're technologically illiterate, or you know other channels that are clipping you and getting more views are doing better than you are. And that's rough.
Oh, so he wants to show the mileage. Right.
That's one of two things. And given how well his comedic career has went, it's definitely the latter.
What an ass.
It's just deserving to
Later
other.
that
I'm
year,
glad other
see, I have
channels
some
are running
stand-up
with
clips. There's a couple of them. Well, look, that's from my show. That's from an excerpt from a show that I did. That's from a clean show I did. That's why the video is only like 30 seconds long, because I can't do clean shit because like it sucks and I don't enjoy it. But
He can't do dirty material either.
Well, I'll say this: clean material does require a different degree of style. It is a little more
You
difficult.
could be clean funny, Jimmy.
Oh no, I'm not saying that I couldn't be clean, but I don't know if I could ever make it as a clean comic. I could do a clean set, but
yeah, but you could definitely find something that's observationally.
you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, no, but that just sounds hacky. When you say, "Oh, well, it was a clean bet, so it was only like 30 seconds."
I wouldn't do a clean. I wouldn't do 30 seconds of a clean bit. It would have to be at least a couple of minutes.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like a hack says that though. Oh,
Yeah.
I had to be clean, so it was only 30 seconds. Like,
Which
everything's
tells
an
me-
excuse with this fucking guy.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Jimmy?
This guy who looks right now built like a King of the Hill character would have you believe. How you've done comedy for 20 years, and yet you can't do an extended clean bit. You don't have to do a whole set. You can do a singular bit that's a clean joke.
And I know this is irrelevant, but Tom, take that fucking windscreen off your microphone. It makes no sense and it's annoying. Oh my god, it's annoying. I can't stop looking at it. Between that and your big dumb lips, I just can't stop. That fucking balloon knot of a mouth of yours.
But Aaron, I have not been deleting my clips. Do I go ahead and clean up my channel? Yeah. Is there?
What does that mean? You clean up your channel? Dude, we have the earliest episodes of this show where we had no idea what we were doing. We weren't talking about anything. We went on for like maybe 20 minutes the first few episodes. They're still up.
There was the episodes of before I became like a permanent stand-in.
Yes. We have episodes with JD. All this stuff is still up. The old shit is still up. So why are you cleaning up your channel if it has 0 views? As a matter of fact, we haven't done this in a long time. I have all of my old vlogs privatized. We haven't went back and watched those in a while. But you know, that shit's out there too. Show the stuff that you're not proud of is my point, Tom.
Yeah, like every stand-up bit I've done, I'm going to keep on YouTube. So if for some reason I ever make it or I become big, I can show people that no, I certainly stumbled at some dive bars where I live.
Of course.
You know?
Look at that paw. What a monkey. What a fucking mayonnaise orangutan.
There that I think, maybe it's not good. I'll go ahead and take it down. Absolutely. Do I make some stuff
Oh, you suck.
private? Do I have some unlisted stuff up there? Because if I want to go online, do I want to go ahead and listen to something, a new bit that I'm working on?
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. And like I said, I do have my old vlogs privatized because, and okay, I do have those privatized.
Yeah, but you know,
And I have shown them at my own will as as fodder for the show.
privatized is fine because you know if I asked you to pull up a specific vlog, you could do it. But outright deleting it is
Right.
that says a lot more.
And I feel like he's beating around the bush here.
Of course.
Absolutely. But it's like, I don't delete stuff because like people are out there looking for it. I don't. If anything, I oversaturate myself. I oversaturate YouTube with everything.
He oversaturates himself in baby oil.
In everything, your whole performance is oversaturated.
He oversaturates himself in with unfunny jokes. God. But he does, though. He puts out the Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. He does this stream. He does put up a lot of different things now. So it's not as if that he's not telling the truth to an extent.
But I'm already sniping Steel Toe Ross. So
he also doesn't know what sniping means.
Oh.
Pulling up a clip is not sniping.
No, sniping is like going to a live stream.
Shared screen.
Right.
So
and just.
But yeah, no, Aaron, I'm not deleting my shit. Not deleting it. You're wrong. So I don't. First off, I don't delete anything because of you. Like, this is why it's so easy to go after him, because he'll go ahead and just make these blanket statements, or he'll say stuff that's completely incorrect, that's still out of line, to go ahead and appeal to some kind of base that's pretty much there to troll him at this point. So,
and you're acting like you're not in the same.
Por ejemplo, this.
Okay.
Right. And again, the same thing that I've said before. Okay, we get some stragglers here and there. Tom had like 11 viewers. He had 12 views on this morning. Okay, so look, he's getting somewhere slowly, I suppose. But it's certainly not in pace with Aaron Emholt. There's no reason that Aaron would be going after Tom. Aaron is only now looking at Tom because Tom brought himself to Aaron's he brought himself to Aaron's knowledge, I'm trying to say. He started a feud with Aaron as if Aaron gave a fuck who Tom Myers was prior to this.
And that should also scream how bad and desperate you are for some clout when you think Steel Toe yet again is your ticket to something.
Like, he's basically doing what WATP is doing, which is copy what Nick Mullen did, which is copy what basically...
Okay.
This whole subset...
There's a lot happening here. Let's just listen to what he's saying.
Anything because of you. Like, this is why it's so easy to go after him, because he'll go ahead and just make these blanket statements, or he'll say stuff that's completely incorrect, that's still out of line, to go ahead and appeal to some kind of base that's pretty much there to troll him at this point. So, por ejemplo, this, like, he's basically doing what WATP is doing, which is copy what Nick Mullen did, which is copy what basically this whole subsect of Baltimore DC comics have been doing to me since I
Okay.
Tom, this is all terribly uninteresting. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, so a lot of what you're saying is, Tom, is that, okay, not only... That's okay, so not only did every comic in the Baltimore DC area clown on you, but Nick Mullen famously clowned on you. And now every other podcast that happens to review things is clowning on you, and they're all just copying each other. No, Tom, it's just that you're very clownable, and you start shit with people like you can stand toe-to-toe with anybody. Complete straight fucking janitors could take you on, Tom.
How do you expect people not to clown on you? You tell people you've been doing comedy for 20 years, you've traveled to 3 countries, you've been to like 37 states, and the end result at the moment is you live in your parents' basement. And on the occasion when the weather gets slightly shitty, you'll flee to a hotel and demand your audience to offset the cost. Why the fuck wouldn't we goof on you? And you want to know what the telltale sign of a bad comic is? If you're the type of guy who can throw shit out and can't take it in return.
Yeah.
Like, Tom, you can't go into a saloon and start firing at people and be surprised when they shoot back.
And he's doing this whole pity party now. He's doing this whole pity party of, oh, well, everybody is just ganging up on me, and you know, I'm not. Remember, he said I don't even pay attention to it. A couple of days ago, that's what Tom was saying. Oh, when things are said about me, I just scroll through and don't even pay attention. Now, all of a sudden, he is transfixed on Aaron, talking about him.
Yeah.
I basically got started. And we're going to go ahead and see this. This is how dumb MGD is. Instead of sending them like a more recent clip, she sends them a clip of me from 2008, which is material I don't even do anymore.
Well,
like, that's like Nick Mullen and Cumtown level stupidity.
Good shit. It's one of those guys where I'm like, man, if I didn't have anything better to do, I could lean into this guy for a little bit and we could just smoke him.
Come on, Aaron, lean into me. Lean into me. Lean into me. Try to smoke me. You're not going to be able to. You will not be able to smoke me. Like, okay, even if you succeeded, you know what? I'm like the Chumbawamba of the dabble verse, of the hack verse, of the shit verse, whatever you want to call it. I get knocked down, I get up.
Okay. I'm tapping out. I can't deal with any more fucking Dom today. I've had enough.
I'm going to end it on this note. I will give Steel Toe as much shit as humanly possible, but he kind of nailed it on the head when he says that when people have nothing better to do, they can turn on a Tom Myers show clip and just smash him, because we're kind of doing that right now.
Well, on to something else. And I don't want to lose the one listener, the one viewer that we have. I wish I could tell who that is at the moment. But look, do you remember a number of years ago when Casey Neistat was in Los Angeles and someone broke into his rental car and Seth Rogen in so many words said, just don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, saying that one of the things about living in the city you have to accept is that your car's going to get broken into. I fucking remember that.
Yes.
That's some stupid shit.
Well, the reason that I bring that up is because we've been seeing a lot of Tesla vehicles be vandalized, Tesla dealerships get vandalized, employees of Tesla dealerships being harassed and assaulted. And quite frankly, it's this type of animalistic behavior that is why the country is in the shape that it's in. Not to get political, because I'm really not in the mood for that today. But Jimmy Kimmel goes on his fucking show, and he makes some little snide comment about like, stop burning Tesla vehicles or whatever.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have a stroke on stage when he was doing that. Like, you all right, Jim?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Are we really this entrenched in identity politics that if someone happens to drive a vehicle of of a company, someone happens to drive a make and model that is owned by someone that you don't like. Do we know anything about the CEO of Honda, or the CEO of Chevrolet, or the CEO of Kia? Do we know who these fucking people are? Do we know if they are peaches or not?
I don't know, and I will also say that there's another layer to it. Said owner of Tesla used to be championed by, and I know we don't want to get political, but I have to put this out there. Said CEO of Tesla used to be like the second coming of Christ for the left, used to be championed and heralded as this great deity, you know,
And
actually
wasn't he
putting.
on all these tonight? Wasn't he on the Tonight
He
Show
was
and
on
all
the
these
Tonight
different
Show
shows and right?
and all of that. Like he was like this crown jeweled like champion. But in the moment he saw that the political party he was a part of was kind of going downhill and kind of were just doing things that were against his interest, he just decided to, you know, to dip.
Yeah, and look, since we're on this topic, the Department of Government Efficiency is seeing its pushback. The third federal judge ruled last week to reinstate 100,000 federal employees that lost their jobs. Another 50,000 former federal employees may be temporarily rehired here in the coming weeks before the end of the month, maybe into April. So, there are things that they're just not going to be able to do. They tried to gut a bit of the NIH, and that has seen pushback. And again, not to get political this afternoon, it's just something that I have been seeing. This very aggressive energy and this entitlement that whether or not the person that owns a Tesla voted a Republican or voted Democrat, it's not a crime to vote for a candidate to run the country. There is nothing wrong with that. And the entitlement that some people have to walk up. How much is a Cybertruck, Jim? Like 80 grand?
I think the lower end model, I remember I was looking at some one ran for like 50.
Right.
So they're pretty pricey.
So you're going to walk up to a $50,000 vehicle and vandalize it.
Well, here's the other thing too, and I've never understood this. And the right's sort of guilty of this too, or they are guilty of it. You buy products from these companies, and then you burn them as a middle finger to said company. It's like they already got your money. It's like the whole Budweiser thing. And look, I understood that the political messaging for Budweiser and all that was stupid. But what's the point of you buying out cases of Bud Light just to shoot it and shit like that? It's like the company took your money, champ. What are you doing? And for the people who buy these Cybertrucks or have owned them for years and now they're burning them, it's like the company already got your money. Like, what are you doing?
And also, the bank probably still owns that car. It's probably not paid off, I'd imagine.
Well, of course. Well, I'm talking about the people who bought it outright.
Oh, okay.
Like,
but
if
that's the difference too. If you go to the store and you buy a 6-pack of Bud Light and you decide to shoot the bottles like Kid Rock did, okay, that is a one-time purchase. You're done. You physically own the item. You're walking up to someone else's vehicle. You're walking up to a Tesla dealerships where there's cars for sale, and you are vandalizing them. And we go on to this diatribe of, well, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want if you dislike the CEO. And I just don't see how that's a way to live. I don't believe that is a sustainable ideology to have. And I'm not defending Elon. I'm not a big fan of everything that's happening right now in the world of politics, okay? I don't consider myself to really be really left or right. I try not to cling on to those things. I just try to see what's happening in the world. And I think that's what most people are. I don't think most people are diehard either way. But this behavior that is also happening in a very minute sliver of the population, but the fact that it's happening at all is and it's being cheerleaded. It's frightening.
I think the murder of the United Healthcare CEO kind of kicked this off a little more. Look, I'm not a fan of every CEO, and I'm not a fan of every metric or practice carried out. But if you think the CEOs are acting unhuman, and then you think murdering them and trying to let this person run free isn't an unhuman thing, you're equally, if not a greater version of evil. And now I think that's given people the right to treat CEOs like shit. It's okay to go up to these Tesla dealerships and stuff like that. Or you have there were some people on my Facebook feed who were attempting to do like an economic blackout. Or there's the Target boycott, and I hate to disappoint people. The whole Target boycott. I was up in Rapid about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, because Target took the queer section out of their
They got rid of
or
the
whatever.
DEI
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
So I was up there.
From the kids section of all places.
Well, I know. I was up there because the Shadron and Walmart doesn't always keep their Transformers stock, so I bought some figures while I was up there. So unless you guys are going to start buying figures from me, because I live in bumfuck nowhere and I don't always like to buy figures online, I like the instant gratification of getting my shit there and then. I'm going to spend my money however the fuck I want because I have the economic freedom to do so.
And I was just at Target a few days ago. Trust me, everybody is still there.
Of course.
It's just one of these things where my car, okay, I recently got into a fender bender. I was at a red light and it just kind of happened. And my front fender has a little bit of a divot in it now. And I'm bummed out because, it doesn't look pretty anymore, but the car is still in fine shape. I paid $18,000 for my vehicle, albeit new. Okay, my little Spark, I paid $18,000 for. And I was really fucking upset that I dinged it up. I couldn't imagine having $80,000 in a vehicle and some asshole McDonald's employee comes by and keys it up.
Well, I guess it's okay to treat McDonald's employees like shit now because the one guy who turned Luigi in, the one decent human being in that whole situation.
Oh, so we're not fighting for 15 with them anymore.
I guess not. I guess. And if we're going to also conveniently ignore other stuff, we hate the rich so much, but we conveniently still ignore the fact that Luigi was a rich guy. But I guess that would also deflate that narrative if you bring that up. So, cool. I guess we don't have to fight for 15 an hour for fast food workers anymore because of that.
Again, I just really think that, either way, I don't like that and this is not me saying if there is a group of right-leaning individuals that go out and do something egregious in the next, couple of weeks, we'll come in here and we'll talk about our disdain for that too. I don't like the violence. I think Jimmy agrees. We don't like seeing violence. We don't like seeing the vandalism. And we don't like seeing any of this shit.
I am fine with protest. I'm fine with protesting. The second you think that rioting is okay, it sucks. Because now we're playing this game, and I don't care what. It's like Johnny said. I don't care what political affiliation you're a part of. The second you start conflating protesting and rioting, you've lost me. They're two separate things. You have the right to peacefully protest, to assemble for that. You don't have a right to be a shithead and pull. I'm going to say this. If we're gonna play this game of vandalism, you guys didn't like one Kyle Rittenhouse. You keep this vandalism shit up, you might run into another one.
Right, and again, that's not a place of encouragement, but it's
I'm not encouraging it.
We see extremism online all the time, and I think a way to kind of tame that shit down is by saying, look, we are going to find logic and reason and we are going to professionally express how we feel. because we have to get ourselves up to an even ground again. And that just, again, it doesn't matter who you vote for or what's going on, because it's not even really political. It's social. It's everything.
Yeah.
You live in a small town and you live in an area in the country where people are kind of, happy-go-lucky by nature. But I have noticed, at least where I'm living, there's kind of a stiffness with people now. I've just noticed in the last couple of months, there's much more of a like strangers kind of walk around a bit more alert, kind of a bit more on the prowl.
Yeah, and
It feels uncomfortable.
when I tell people that the adjustment from living in places like New York and Florida to Shadram was a culture shock, I wasn't talking about just in population size. I was talking about with how social local people are in a much smaller sense. Because in the city, you deal with people who not everybody is cold. I understand some people do have places to go and they don't mean anything bad, but I do agree there is this air of coldness, that bystander effect s thing. But I'm going to also lean back into one thing you said earlier. These people that are delving into this animalistic behavior, and I like that that's how you described it because I think it's spot on. When you delve into animalistic behavior, people are going to respond in kind. And I think some of you aren't ready for that. And I'm not encouraging anyone to get hurt or anything. But when your response to stuff is to be incredibly violent, don't be surprised when the response in turn is incredibly violent. If you think vandalizing stuff, lighting stuff on fire, and being destructive is the metric that you're going with is approved, and I only mentioned the Kyle Rittenhouse thing because it was just that's how that all started.
Right. 100%. And unfortunately, we know it's just kind of just been snowballing from there. But to kind of drift off of that,
yes,
and on to the final topic of today. Jeremy Boring officially out at the Daily Wire, and I could not be happier than to see when scumbags get roasted just publicly. When these fuckers get tarred and feathered, it is my favorite thing to see. Not only do you run a company when there's kind of evidence that he's a bit of an agnostic, but yet he pretends to care about his Jewish roots, and he runs this religious-based media company.
He's a performative religious individual, as I would say.
Oh, 100%. Because anyone who actually has a faith is not calling himself the what the fuck's he call himself? The God what?
The God something, but it's so performative.
King, God King, yeah. It is. It's beyond performative. And he wanted to be an actor. It didn't work out. Somehow or another, he partnered up with Ben Shapiro, and then they made this whole thing happen. And look, regardless if the Daily Wire is to dissolve next week, okay, regardless if it is to be gone, Shapiro, Walsh, Knowles, all those guys will find somewhere else to go. Ben will probably do his own thing. I'm sure Tucker will hire Matt and Michael, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But if the Daily Wire is to continue, because I do hear they are bankrupt, and if they do continue under Caleb Robinson, I guess we'll see what their media practices are there on out. But most certainly, when you have someone who is blatantly misogynistic, who has a record of treating the female employees and various staff members harsh, to the point where, I don't know if you heard about this or not, Jim, but the women that were in the building would minorly inconvenience him, and he would fire them in front of everybody.
Yep, I heard about that.
But the men, he would be much more looser to. Everything was laissez-faire. If you were part of the boys' club in that company, but be a woman, and out the door you go. The mistreatment of Brett Cooper.
Yeah, that whole fucking situation.
That whole situation. Candace Owens is different. I'm here or there with Candace Owens, but Brett Cooper did not deserve any of that.
No, and that's where I was just like, that's where I legit was like, okay, this company is really becoming fucked. Well, I don't understand why you would do that.
And also, this guy, again, he's a performative religious sort of dude. You know how I know he has no talent? Did anyone listen to the Jeremy Boring podcast? This guy wanted to make himself like he kind of wanted to make, I guess you could say Ben Shapiro is the like the poster child of the company. But he wanted to make sure people knew who he was. He was the figurehead. But yet the things that he produced were lackluster at best.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I'm not going to act like I'm a champion for Ben Shapiro, but I don't blame people when they think of the Daily Wire that Ben Shapiro comes to mind first. Because whether you like him or not, at least he's not performative for the most part. There isn't really a front. It's Ben is who Ben is.
Right. Exactly. He's going to be who he's going to be. But the point that I was getting at is that we saw that Lady Ballers movie. It was a piece of shit. It sucked.
Yeah, and
we've seen the other acting. We've seen the other. I don't even want to call them films. I mean, I guess they're films. We've seen the other theatrical efforts of Jeremy Boring, shall we say, and it's not great.
Well, I also need to chime in on this too, and this is for people who need to understand. I don't like woke content, but I don't like anti-woke stuff. I didn't like Lady Ballers because South Park did what Lady Ballers was trying to do with that concept and did it better. And they also produced this late night adult animation show that was basically, I'll put it like this. If you enjoy what the Daily Wire does, if you enjoy anti-woke content and stuff like that, then this stuff's going to be a fit for you. But for people like me and Johnny, we're going to watch it and we're going to be like, oh, we get it.
Yeah, because in the same way that, like, at this point, when people do the Orange Man, Cheeto Dust guy jokes about Trump, it's just as annoying as, oh, let's own the libs.
Yeah.
Ha, ha.
You suck, boy, libtard, Romano.
Right. It's obnoxious either way. And that's why, it's not something that anybody really wants to see anymore. It's outdated stuff. It stinks. And the other way that you know that this guy is nothing more than a grifter is because he has to own the libs. Okay? He had to start selling his own razors because Harry's Razors put out some sort of advertisement during Pride Month.
Well,
so then he
I
had
thought
to make
was it Harry's? I thought it was Gillette.
Well, no, may have been. Was it Gillette? I thought
It was Gillette.
Harry's Razors.
I could be wrong. I really thought it was Gillette that did that.
I don't know, but all I know is that he made Jeremy's razors that were overpriced. And then he put out that chocolate. He put out Jeremy's chocolate as a response to Hershey. And for 3 of these candy bars, by the way, it was $50 before shipping. He was selling those cigars that were, you could go to a smoke shop and get higher quality cigars.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the smokeman's jacket, that robe, for $350 that virtually no one ordered?
Yeah.
Like, these were all failed grifts by Jeremy.
Look, if you're going to capitalize off of something, you got to do what Jordan Peterson did, and I still have the shirt. There was a Captain America comic they did where in the issue, Red Skull was basically a caricature of Jordan Peterson. Like Red Skull said something about like 10 rules for something. You know, it was obviously taking a shot at Jordan Peterson's book of 12 Rules for Life. So Jordan Peterson's response to that was to make a shirt called Hail Lobster, which is a play off of Hail Hydra.
Yeah,
see,
I remember that.
And I still have that shirt. You see, if you're going to play this game of the culture war and you're going to deal with that, there's an intelligent way to respond to it, like Jordan Peterson did. Or you do what Jeremy does, which is a grift. And for those who don't know why this is a grift, it's because Jeremy knows that there is a part of the culture, a part of the consumer that doesn't like the woke DEI bullshit. So the response is to sell an overpriced product that you could probably get better at your local retailer. And the left is guilty of this too, with making products that is a way to, I bash on it a lot. The Eat the Rich t-shirt, for example, is a grift.
Right.
Selling a t-shirt for $60 that says "Eat the Rich" while you're buying a t-shirt for $60 and supporting a politician that's made millions is fucking insane.
Right, exactly. And you know, and there's two sides of this. But I think the most important thing to realize, okay, is that Jeremy made that comment out of school about Christ the King, and that tweet is all they needed to finally give him the axe. Once they discovered the maxed out credit cards, the fact that there were accounts that just had no money in it at all, the debacle with Tim Pool trying to potentially buy the Daily Wire, just everything that transpired, it was all a flub. It was all Jeremy's fault. And in the end, honestly, good riddance. And we'll see what comes next.
Maybe he'll be the next streaming grifter sensationalist, and we'll have fun. Maybe he'll go back to doing a podcast, and we'll have some more content on the show.
Oh, shit. Maybe we will. Oh, man. Well,
Jeremy,
now,
please
Jimbo...
do that podcast.
Oh,
please.
Man. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. But yeah, on Wednesday, we'll definitely go ahead and get more into
the comedic styling.
Oh yes, the comedic stylings of Stuttering John, and of course, we will then have to take a look at the one boogie. But for now, happy trails, sir.
Happy trails.